Hi everyone, my name is Sheena Joy and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be setting up my December bullet journal spread. So I've already gotten out my watercolor markers and I've gotten out my palette and I'm putting different greens in each well. I'm mixing blues and greens and light greens and just to get a variation in shade. And I really love how everything is turning out in terms of the colors, and I'm glad I didn't use just like one type of leaf. I used different leaves and just these like little Christmas leaves. Are those called holly leaves? I'm not quite sure, but they're really Christmassy. And then I'm going to add some berries. I originally was going to do poinsettias like around it too, but I think it was too busy maybe for what I was looking for. Not that poinsettias would have been a bad idea. But I gotta say that I was influenced in my design by a recent video I saw by Shayda Campbell. She's a fellow Canadian and she did a handmade card video recently and I'll link that below. It's not exactly the same, but yeah, I love the video. So here I am marking in the days and watercoloring in the days of the week here, erasing everything, and yeah, on to the next page. So on this page I have been using this spread, and if you saw my last month's spread, I'll link it below for November. I started doing this one-page spread for the month and then looking ahead to the month ahead, because I found that some things were falling on the next month or carrying over, or I kind of had to be like forward thinking in terms of my planning. So it really works for me, and I might change it back to the way I had it before in terms of having 2 pages for a great big calendar. So I'll see, because it's good to change things up, and sometimes what works for you now might not work for you later. So, but look at those cute little presents. I love that. And yeah, just taking in my fine liner and doing some faux calligraphy there, and just adding some details here on the presents. Now on to this next page where I put my events and appointments on the left hand side, and then on the right hand side I put in my monthly goals, and then below that I put my to-do list and my note section. And I'm putting some ornaments on the top of the page, and in the middle I have a snowflake kind of border. And yeah, it's really, I don't know. First I thought, well, I don't know if I'm really having any cohesion, but I think the cohesion with my spread is that everything is really Christmassy. So now I'm just sectioning things off and just writing in some special days. I just realized that my lights were off temporarily, so I put them back on. You gotta have on your twinkle lights when you're doing your bullet journal. That's the #1 bullet journal rule. Just kidding. I just love it. So now I'm moving on to my habit tracker. And what I decided to do was I decided to do a tree with a garland on it. And the garland has ornaments. And for each ornament, each one is numbered. And so I'll fill them in day by day. And what I did at the bottom was I did a mood guide, and the mood guide is pertaining to the color of each present. And I thought that was really fun and different. It just kind of developed as I went too. I actually was going to originally color in the whole tree green and then leave the circles, but I decided it just would make the whole page too wet. So yeah, and using my gold jelly roll, that's a must. You got to have some gold and sparkle for Christmas. So now I'm on to my thought jot page. And my thought jot page functions for me as some people use a brain dump. Okay, so on to the next page, which is my spending log. That got cut a bit short, but you'll see it in my my flip through at the end of this video. I think one of my boys needed me. So like I said, on to the spending log, and I decided to do a string of lights on the top and a string of lights on the bottom. And as I'm speaking right now, there's quite a few lights in our house right now, and I just think there's nothing more festive than having a string of lights here and there and in doorways, and I just kind of have them everywhere. So I mentioned before that I'm using watercolor markers. I'm using Tombow markers as a watercolor, and I'm also using the Clean Color Real Brush markers. And I'll link below the sets that I have. And I don't know if you've tried either one, but they both work really beautifully. That purple there though, that's a Crayola, and I also use that as a watercolor as well. And yeah, it's all looking so pretty. You guys, I really love Christmas. Just taking my fine liner and adding in the definitive lines, and I erase everything. I'm adding in these little stars, and I call them in my mind Sarah Faber stars. I don't know if you watch her, but I'll link her below too, but she does these little stars often, and I know other people do too, but they just remind me of her. So here I am taking my black fine liner, and I'm giving more of a definition to those lights on the bottom. I don't think that you always have to use a fine liner around your watercolored images. I think it really depends on the look you're going for and your own particular style. So here I am writing date, amount, and description, and that's enough for me because when I go through our money at the end of the month and look at where our money is going, then I can see that's all the information I need right there. So now moving on to the weekly spread. I'm including weeks 1 and 2 because week 1 only has 1 day, and what I decided to do was go for a less structured look. So I'm putting in these ornaments, and then I'm putting the days of the week around the ornaments, and I'm using my gold glitter pen and my gold gel pen and giving them some detail and putting some little stars. And I'm really enjoying this because ever since I started bullet journaling, I've always done a more structured look for my weeklies. So I think it's fun to switch it up for me, as I mentioned before, because yeah, just change it and I might like it and go back to the way it was, and it's just, yeah, it's beautiful. I love it. And here I'm using my dryer because I just don't want to smear the color around. I'm using a heating tool is what it is, and if you don't have one, you can use your hair dryer or simply let it air dry. After this weekly, I'm going to do a flip through. I'm not sure if I'm going to add more pages or not, like a habit tracker, or I'm going to continue to use this particular bullet journal for my own personal diary. I'll decide that later on. And if I do, I'll include a video here or on my Instagram or on Instagram TV, and I'll put all the links below. Okay, so looking at my cover page, and there's a look at December, looking ahead to January, a section for important days and appointments, monthly goals, section for to-do list and notes, my mood tracker and mood guide, my thought jot page, my spending log, and my weekly spread for weeks 1 and 2. So everything's looking so holiday-ish and perfect for December. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're having fun journaling, and happy holidays, everyone. Thanks so much for being here, and consider subscribing if you enjoyed, and give my video a like. Okay, take care. Bye.